I wake as the light begins to change. It is not bright yet. It is only just enough to notice that the room is no longer dark. Pale morning light rests against the wooden walls, slipping in through the small window beside my bed. The curtains are thin, and they soften the light rather than blocking it. Outside, the valley is quiet. The hills rise gently beyond the fields, their slopes smooth and rounded, layered one behind the other. In the distance, tall mountains stand calmly, their peaks pale with early light. They do not feel close, and they do not feel far. They simply belong there. The air is cool. Fall has settled fully into the valley now. The nights carry a gentle chill, and the mornings hold on to it for a while before letting it go. I remain still for a moment, listening. There is very little sound. A faint breeze moves through the grass. Somewhere farther off, a bird calls once, then falls silent again. The world feels rested, as though it has been waiting quietly for the day to begin. I sit up slowly. The floor beneath my feet is cool and solid. The wooden boards are familiar, worn smooth over time. I stand and stretch gently, not rushing the movement, letting my body wake at its own pace. From the window, I can see the fields. They stretch out in calm, orderly shapes, bordered by low stone walls and narrow paths. The grass has turned shades of gold and soft brown, with patches of deeper green where it has been sheltered from the cold. Fallen leaves rest along the edges, gathered by the breeze and left there. Beyond the fields, the hills rise. Trees dot their slopes, their leaves now shades of amber, rust and muted red. The colours feel warm, even in the cool air. Nothing moves quickly there. Nothing needs to. I dress slowly. The clothes are simple and warm, layered for the season. Fabric brushes softly against skin. Each piece is familiar, chosen without thought. When I finish, I pause again, breathing in the quiet of the morning. Downstairs, the house is still. I move through it gently, my steps soft against the floor. The table sits where it always has, smooth and solid. A kettle rests near the hearth, waiting. I set it in place and add water, the sound quiet and unhurried. As it warms, I open the door and step outside. The air meets me calmly. It carries the scent of earth and fallen leaves, of grass touched by frost, and sunlight waiting to arrive. The sky above the valley is pale, a soft blend of colour that does not demand attention. I walk a familiar path toward the fields. The ground beneath my boots is firm, slightly damp from the night. Each step lands where it has landed many times before. The path curves gently, guiding me without decision. The animals are already awake. They stand quietly near the fence, moving slowly, breathing clouds into the cool air. They do not hurry. They never do. I greet them in the same way each morning, with calm movements and steady hands. The routine begins. It always does, and it always feels the same. Morning settles into the valley without ceremony. The light grows stronger, but only slightly, as if it is careful not to rush. It touches the tops of the hills first, then slowly makes its way down the slopes, resting on the fields in long, soft stretches. The mountains beyond catch the light last, their pale faces warming gradually. I move through the familiar tasks of the morning. The animals are tended calmly. Feed is measured out, placed where it always goes. Water is checked, refreshed where needed. Each movement is practiced, done the same way each day without thought or adjustment. They respond in quiet ways. A shift of weight, a slow step forward, a gentle breath in the cool air. Nothing startles, nothing changes. When the animals are settled, I walk the edge of the fields. The path curves gently around the stone walls, guiding my steps. Fallen leaves crunch softly beneath my boots, their sound muted by the damp earth. The smell of soil and grass feels deeper in the fall, richer, as if the land itself has grown quieter and more thoughtful. I pause now and then, not to inspect, but to notice. The way the grass bends slightly under its own weight, the way the wind moves through the trees along the hills, the way the light shifts slowly, almost imperceptibly. There is a rhythm here that never changes. I follow it without effort. By mid-morning, the air has warmed just enough. I return to the house along the same path, passing the same fence, the same low stone wall. The door opens easily. Inside, the kettle has long since finished warming. I pour the water and sit at the table. The cup warms my hands. Steam rises slowly, then fades. I drink without hurry, letting the warmth settle. Through the window, the valley remains unchanged, steady and calm. Afterward, I return outside. There are small tasks to tend to in the fields, nothing urgent, nothing demanding. I move from one end to the other, checking the ground, adjusting what needs adjusting, leaving the rest alone. The same motions repeat. Walking the rows, pausing, moving on. The work is quiet and steady. My hands know what to do. My thoughts drift without direction, never lingering long enough to matter. At midday, the light stands evenly across the valley. Shadows shorten, colors soften. The hills seem closer now, though they have not moved. The mountains beyond remain still and distant, watching without presence. I sit for a while near the edge of the field. The grass is cool beneath me. Leaves gather nearby, shifting gently when the breeze passes through. I rest there, breathing slowly, letting time stretch. Eventually, I rise. The afternoon begins much like the morning did. The same paths, the same tasks, the same quiet. I walk them again. The land responds the same way it always has, and the day continues, unhurried, unchanged, calm. The afternoon moves forward in small, gentle ways. Nothing marks its arrival clearly. The light simply shifts again, becoming softer, warmer, settling more comfortably across the valley. The hills hold their colors quietly, gold and rust and muted green blending together without contrast. I return to the fields. The path feels the same beneath my feet as it did earlier. Each stone sits where it always has. Each turn arrives without surprise. I follow it without thinking, my body remembering what my mind does not need to hold. There are small tasks to return to. I check the same fence lines again, even though I know they are fine. I adjust a latch, not because it is loose, but because it is what I always do in the afternoon. The motion feels complete, satisfying in its familiarity. The animals move slowly nearby. They graze, pause, graze again. Their movements repeat in the same gentle patterns. Occasionally one lifts its head, then lowers it again. Nothing interrupts them. Nothing needs attention. I walk the same rows again. The ground looks unchanged. Leaves have gathered a little more along the edges, but even that feels expected. I brush a few aside with my boot, then let them rest again. The breeze passes through the valley. It moves the grasses and the trees along the hills in the same way it always does, creating a soft sound that rises briefly, then fades. The air smells of earth and autumn, steady and calm. I pause often in the afternoon. Standing still feels as natural as walking. I rest my hands at my sides or fold them loosely in front of me. Time feels wide here, stretched gently, not pressing forward. The mountains beyond the hills remain unchanged. They sit quietly, catching the light differently now, their pale surfaces deepening slightly in color as the sun lowers. They do not draw attention. They simply remain. Later, I return to the house again. The door opens with the same soft sound. Inside, the air is warmer than outside now, holding on to the day's heat. I move through the space slowly, setting a few things in order, though nothing is out of place. I sit at the table again. The chair supports me easily. The surface of the table feels smooth beneath my hands. I look out the window without focusing on anything in particular. The afternoon drifts. Eventually, I rise again. There is no clear reason. It simply feels like time to move. I step back outside and follow the path once more. The same path, the same field, the same quiet. The repetition feels comforting. Each pass through the land feels softer than the last, as if the valley itself is slowing, preparing for rest. The light continues to change, gradually, gently, and the afternoon continues on, steady and familiar, without needing to go anywhere else. Evening arrives without drawing attention to itself. The light does not suddenly fade. It simply lowers, becoming softer, spreading longer shadows across the fields. The colors of the valley deepen gently, golds turning to amber, greens settling into darker, calmer tones. I notice the change mostly in the air. It cools again, slowly, carrying the quiet scent of grass and fallen leaves. The breeze softens, moving through the valley with less effort, as if it too is settling in for the night. I walk the familiar path one last time. The stones beneath my feet feel cooler now. The ground is firmer, holding on to the day's warmth only faintly. Each step lands quietly, the sound absorbed by earth and grass. The animals gather near the fence. They move more slowly now, their motions unhurried, their presence steady. I tend to them gently, repeating the same calm actions from earlier in the day. Feed is placed, water is checked. Everything is already as it should be. They settle easily. I pause there for a moment, looking out across the fields. The hills hold their shapes in the fading light. Trees stand still, their leaves barely moving. Beyond them, the mountains rest quietly, their pale faces now shaded in soft blues and greys. I turn back toward the house. The path curves gently, guiding me without thought. The door opens easily. Inside, the warmth feels welcoming, familiar. I move through the room slowly, lighting a lamp as the daylight fades further. The glow is soft. It does not reach far. It does not need to. I prepare a simple meal. The motions are unhurried. Each step follows the last in a familiar sequence. I sit at the table again, eating slowly, listening to the quiet sounds of the house settling around me. Outside, the valley grows still. The last light fades from the sky, leaving a calm darkness that feels gentle rather than heavy. A few stars appear, faint at first, then clearer as the moments pass. Afterward, I tidy without rushing. The table is cleared. The cup is set aside. Everything returns to its place, ready for tomorrow to arrive when it does. I move upstairs. The room is dim now, lit only by the soft glow from the lamp. I change slowly. The motions familiar, comforting. When I lie down, the bed feels steady beneath me. Through the window, the valley rests. The hills are quiet. The fields are still. The mountains remain. The day has passed without effort. Nothing has changed. Tomorrow will come in the same gentle way. For now, the valley sleeps, and I rest within it, calm and unhurried, as the quiet continues on. The valley feels fully awake now, though nothing has changed suddenly. Light rests evenly across the fields, no longer rising, no longer shifting quickly. It simply stays, touching the land with a calm certainty. The hills beyond hold their layered shapes, green and gold and brown blending gently together. I walk the familiar path again. The same curve, the same stones, the same soft bend in the grass where others have walked before me. My steps fall into the ground easily. Each one feels expected. The earth accepts them without sound. I move along the edge of the fields. The plants stand quietly, their leaves thick and sturdy, shaped by the season. Some have begun to dry slightly at the tips, curling inward in preparation for colder days. Fallen leaves rest between the rows, unmoving unless the breeze passes through. I pause and rest my hand on the low stone wall. The stones are cool now, holding less warmth than they did earlier. They feel solid and reassuring beneath my palm, fitted together carefully long ago and never disturbed. I continue walking. The animals remain nearby, shifting only when they need to. They know the rhythm of the day as well as I do. They do not look up unless I come close. Their breathing is slow, even, calm. I check them again. Not because anything has changed, not because anything needs fixing, just because this is what I do. Water sits clean and still. Feed rests untouched in places. Everything feels complete. I turn back toward the house. The path leads me without thought. I follow it the same way I always have, letting my body remember what comes next. The hills rise gently on either side, their trees moving only slightly in the breeze. The mountains beyond remain unchanged. They feel distant but present, watching quietly without attention. Their pale faces catch the light differently now, softened by the angle of the sun. Inside the house, the air feels steady, not warm, not cool, just held. I move through the space slowly, adjusting nothing, touching familiar surfaces as I pass. The table, the chair, the window frame, each one feels exactly as it should. I sit again. Time feels wide here. The afternoon stretches without urgency, without direction. I look out the window, not focusing on any single thing. The fields, the hills, the sky all blend together into one calm view. Later, I stand again. There is no reason. It simply feels like time to move. I step outside and follow the path once more. The same route, the same pace, the same quiet. The repetition feels deeper now, as if the valley itself is slowing with me, letting the day rest in place rather than move forward. I walk the fields again, then the edge of the hills, then back toward the house. Each loop feels softer than the last, like walking through a familiar dream that never changes shape. The light begins to lower almost without being noticed. Not evening yet, just less afternoon. And the valley continues to hold everything gently, allowing the day to linger exactly where it is. The afternoon settles more deeply into the valley. It does not move forward so much as it spreads out, becoming broader and quieter with each passing moment. The light softens further, not dimming yet, only losing its edge. Everything looks slightly warmer, slightly calmer. I walk the same path again. The curve of it feels familiar beneath my feet. The ground is firm, dry in places, cooler in others where shade lingers longer. Fallen leaves rest along the sides, gathered there naturally, undisturbed. The fields remain still. Nothing stirs unless the breeze moves through, and even then it is gentle. The plants sway only slightly, returning to rest as soon as the air passes on. I follow the fence line again. My hand brushes the top rail as I walk, fingers moving lightly along the worn surface. The texture is familiar, smooth where many hands have touched it before. The fence has never needed much attention, and it does not ask for any now. The animals remain calm. They shift their weight. They step once or twice. Then they settle again. Their presence feels steady, grounding, part of the land rather than separate from it. I pause near the center of the field. From here the valley opens up fully. Hills rise on either side, gentle and rounded. Trees dot their slopes, leaves layered in quiet colors of fall. Beyond them, the mountains remain pale and still, their peaks softened by distance. I stand there for a long moment. Time feels loose here. There is no pressure to move on, no sense that something else should be happening. The afternoon holds itself comfortably, allowing me to remain exactly where I am. Eventually, I walk again. The same path leads me back toward the house. The door waits in the same place. Inside, the air holds a faint warmth from earlier, steady and calm. I move through the room slowly. There is little to do, only small motions that bring a sense of order without changing anything. I adjust a chair slightly. I smooth a cloth on the table. I set something down where it already belongs. Then I sit again. The chair supports me easily. The table rests beneath my hands. Through the window, the light continues its gradual shift, almost imperceptible unless watched carefully. The afternoon continues. I stand. I walk. I pause. The same cycle repeats, each time softer than the last. Outside, the breeze passes through again, lifting a few leaves and setting them back down nearby. The sound is brief, then gone. I step outside once more. The air feels cooler now, though only slightly. The season makes itself known in small ways, never abruptly. I follow the path again, letting the repetition guide me. The valley remains unchanged. Fields, hills, mountains, each one steady, familiar, calm. The light lowers just a little more. Not evening yet. Just the quiet sense that the day is beginning to ease toward rest, slowly, without needing to arrive. And I remain within it, walking the same gentle paths, letting the afternoon stretch on, wide and unhurried, as the valley continues to hold everything softly in place. The afternoon begins to thin. Not in a way that feels like ending, but in the way light becomes more transparent as it moves. The sun lowers gently, resting longer against the hills, stretching shadows across the fields without urgency. I walk again. The path feels softer now, the ground cooling beneath my steps. Leaves gather a little more closely together along the edges, their colours muted, their shapes familiar. Each step lands quietly, absorbed by earth and grass. I follow the same curve along the field. The fence remains unchanged. The stones beneath it sit firmly, settled long ago. I pause there again, resting my hand on the cool surface, feeling the steadiness of it. The animals begin to move closer together. They do not hurry. They simply gather where they usually do as the day eases. Their movements are slow, deliberate, calm. I check their water again, then leave it as it is. Everything is already enough. The breeze passes through the valley once more. It carries the scent of autumn. Dry leaves, cool grass, earth resting beneath the surface. The sound it makes is soft and brief, like a sigh that fades as soon as it arrives. I turn back toward the house. The path guides me without thought. My feet know where to go. The hills feel closer now, not in distance, but in presence. Their shapes are darker, more defined against the softening sky. Inside, the house welcomes the evening. I light a lamp. The glow spreads gently, touching the walls and floor without reaching too far. Shadows gather in corners and remain there quietly. I move through the rooms slowly. There is a small rhythm here too, setting things in place, touching familiar surfaces, adjusting nothing that truly needs adjusting. The repetition feels soothing, predictable. I prepare a simple meal. The motions are unhurried. The sounds are soft. A utensil set down. A dish moved slightly. Nothing clinks sharply. Nothing breaks the quiet. I sit at the table again. Outside the window, the valley darkens just a little more. The hills hold their outlines. The mountains beyond become softer, their edges blending into the sky. I eat slowly. Each bite feels unimportant, steady, grounding. When I finish, I remain seated for a while longer, hands resting on the table, breathing evenly. Eventually, I rise. I step outside once more. The air feels cooler now, distinctly evening. The sky has deepened into softer colors, muted blues and pale gold lingering near the horizon. I walk the path again. This time, the valley feels quieter, not empty, just settled. The animals have grown still. The fields rest. The trees along the hills barely move. I pause and look out across everything one more time. Nothing has changed. Nothing needs to. The day has simply moved where it was always going. Slowly, gently, without effort. I return to the house. The door closes softly behind me. Inside, the lamp glows. The rooms feel smaller now, cozier, held by shadow and warmth. I move upstairs. The floor creaks faintly beneath my steps, familiar sounds that never startle. In the bedroom, the window frames the darkened valley, now lit only by faint starlight and the last memory of day. I prepare for rest. The motions are slow, predictable, comforting. When I lie down, the bed supports me easily. The air feels cool and calm. Outside, the valley remains still. The hills are quiet. The fields are resting. The mountains remain. The day has passed fully now, without needing to be marked. And I rest within the valley as it continues on quietly, unchanged, allowing the night to hold everything gently in place. The night settles completely now. It does not fall. It does not arrive. It simply becomes present, filling the spaces the day has gently left behind. The valley holds the darkness the same way it held the light, without resistance, without change in its calm. I remain still for a while. The bed is steady beneath me. The blankets rest lightly, warm but not heavy. My breathing finds a slow, even rhythm, rising and falling without effort. Outside, the valley is quiet, not silent, but quiet in the way familiar places become at night. A faint breeze moves through the grass now and then, too soft to disturb anything. Somewhere far off, a night bird calls once, then nothing follows. The window remains open just enough. Cool air drifts in, carrying the scent of leaves and earth. It moves across the room slowly, touching the walls, the floor, then passing on. I listen without listening. Sounds arrive gently and leave just as gently. None of them linger long enough to be remembered. Time feels wide again. There is no sense of how much has passed or how much remains. The night stretches comfortably, holding everything in place. My thoughts slow. They drift like the clouds that sometimes pass over the mountains during the day, appearing briefly, then dissolving without direction. Nothing settles long enough to matter. The valley continues. Fields rest where they always have. Hills remain layered and still. Mountains stand quietly beyond, unchanged. The season holds steady. Fall has wrapped the valley in calm colors and cooler air, preparing everything for deeper rest. Leaves rest on the ground where they fell, Paths remain visible but unused for now. Inside the house, everything is still. The lamp casts a soft glow from the other room, dimmed low, not reaching into the bedroom fully. Shadows remain gentle, rounded, unmoving. I turn slightly. The bed adjusts quietly beneath me, then settles again. The movement fades, and the room returns to stillness. Breathing continues, slow, even, unremarkable. Outside, the night deepens, though it does not grow heavier. Stars remain faint above the mountains, scattered lightly, steady and calm. The valley feels complete now. Nothing waits for morning. Nothing anticipates change. Tomorrow will arrive when it does, in the same gentle way it always has. For now, the night holds everything, wide and quiet. I rest within it, and the valley continues to be exactly what it is, calm and unchanged, allowing the night to stretch on softly, without needing to end. The night stays. It does not move forward in any noticeable way. It simply remains, holding the valley in a quiet, steady presence. The darkness feels soft rather than deep, like a blanket laid carefully over familiar shapes. I lie still. The room around me feels settled, complete. The walls do not creak. The floor does not shift. Everything rests exactly where it has always been. My breathing continues at its own pace. In, out. Each breath feels much like the last. There is no effort in it, no thought attached to it. It happens gently, naturally, without direction. Outside, the valley remains unchanged. The fields lie quiet, their outlines softened by darkness. The hills rise in calm layers, barely visible now but still present. The mountains beyond them remain, solid and unmoving, holding their place against the night sky. A breeze passes through once more. It is faint, almost unnoticeable. It stirs the leaves briefly, then leaves them to rest again. The sound fades quickly, leaving the quiet deeper than before. Time stretches. Moments pass without marking themselves. There is no sense of before or after, only the steady continuation of now. Inside the house, the air remains cool and still. The open window lets in a slow drift of night air. It moves gently across the room, then settles. The scent of earth and leaves remains soft and familiar. I shift slightly again. The blankets move with me, then fall still. The bed supports me easily, as it always does. The movement passes, and the quiet returns immediately. Thoughts drift lightly. They do not form stories. They do not linger. They appear briefly, then dissolve, leaving nothing behind. The valley continues to rest. Nothing changes. Nothing needs to. The season remains steady. The night remains calm. The world beyond the hills stays quiet and undisturbed. I remain within that quiet, breathing, resting, letting the night hold everything gently in place. And the valley stays as it is, peaceful and still, allowing the darkness to stretch on without needing to move anywhere else. The night remains calm as it has been. Nothing signals an ending. Nothing asks for closure. The valley simply continues to rest, holding its familiar shapes beneath the dark sky. The fields lie quietly where they always have. The hills remain layered and steady. The mountains beyond are present even when unseen, their stillness unchanged. I remain where I am. The bed is warm and steady beneath me. The blankets rest lightly, rising and falling with each slow breath. The room feels neither large nor small, only settled, as if it has found the exact shape it needs to hold the night. Outside, the air moves gently. A faint breeze passes through again, barely enough to stir the leaves along the ground. The sound is soft, brief, and then gone, leaving the quiet deeper, more complete. Time no longer feels important. Moments pass without being counted. There is no difference between one stretch of night and the next. Everything blends together into a single, unbroken calm. My breathing continues, even, unhurried. Each breath arrives and leaves without effort, without thought. The rhythm feels steady and reassuring, like the valley itself. The house remains still. No doors move, no floors creak. The lamp's soft glow in the other room stays low and constant, its light resting gently against the walls. The window remains open just enough. Cool night air drifts in slowly, carrying the familiar scent of earth and fallen leaves. It moves through the room without disturbance, then settles again. The valley continues. Fields resting, hills quiet, mountains holding their place beyond. Nothing changes. Nothing needs to. The night does not end. It simply goes on, calm and steady, allowing everything within it to remain exactly as it is. And within that quiet, everything feels complete. Not because anything has finished, but because nothing is asking to continue any further.